Hey guys, it's KPA Art Studio again. I want to talk to you about some great news. As you know, if you're here, this video is entitled The Easel I Didn't Buy and the Art I Almost Didn't Make. So, I'm in this video painting on an H easel. If you know anything about those, they're fairly expensive. They can go up to hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and I couldn't justify making that purchase. But more on that later. So, the painting that I'm working on in this, there's me in my oopsie moment. There are lots of those when I'm in the studio. But the painting that I was painting there was accepted into a local exhibition. And that's great news. So I have my first exhibition of 2026 upcoming. And a year ago, as you see here, I'm painting on a table and painting on another table yet again. Um, Super grateful, made some really cool, awesome pieces there. And I'm still using those tables, right? But I would say that a year ago, I couldn't have made the some of the paintings that were accepted into this exhibition. Not because I didn't have the urge or the skill, but because I didn't have the space to work this big. And so I almost didn't get into that space because I was waiting. I was waiting for the perfect time, the perfect budget to buy the H easel, the perfect moment. And this video is all about what happened when I stopped waiting and what showed up instead. So, as you all know, if you've been with me here for a little bit, I typically work smaller, within the 5 by 7 and smaller, 8 by 10, 11 by 14 range, right? And so I am an emerging abstract painter. I have a full time career and job, and I paint where I can fit it into my life because it is uh, very important to me to have that outlet. And I can get into that in another video, but it's something that I look forward to. It's something that I do and I'm committed to, not because I'm like trying to become art famous or make a huge living from it, but it's something that I need in my life. And so for a long time, I worked really small, and I still work small at times. Small canvases, small brushes, small gestures, really intentional. And that was absolutely fine, right? It was what I could manage in the time and the space that I have and had. And so I also noticed, just in tuning in with myself, that something kept me pulling towards bigger work, bigger canvases and larger movements, more room to move my body in bigger ways across larger canvases, and stretching myself physically and in non physical ways. I wanted more space to breathe on the surface, and I could feel it when I painted that I was being limited by space. And so I had a sense of being constrained, not by my skill or my desires, but by the physical limits of what I was actually working on. And so I had a problem. I wanted to get an H easel. And so I've been researching them because I spend a lot of time researching because that's a skill set that I have because of work. And so I knew that there's levels to this, right? And I wanted a really nice one. And I also knew that I was either going to try to save up to get one, or I was going to ask my loving husband for one for the holidays, or just hope that one showed up for me. And so, given that they range in prices from like several $100s and more, I told myself that I would save, right? And that I'd wait for a sale. And I had so many conditions in place while I was giving myself permission to work bigger. And the urge kept growing and growing. And so while I was waiting, I just kept making small work and doing things and experimenting in ways small that allow me to have fun, right? And so I was cool with that. I was cool with being in the waiting process. But here's the thing I learned in my day job, and in my life. When I trust my instincts and I take a risk, even when it's uncomfortable, things tend to work out. Not all the time. It's not completely foolproof for me. I don't know how it is for you, but nonetheless, when I take a risk, I learn something. Something beautiful comes out of it nonetheless. And so I know that to be true. And so I didn't know why I wasn't applying the same to my art practice. And so I figured, well, what if I just started preparing to work bigger? And what if I just pretended that the easel was coming to me, even if I didn't know how or when. And so a few weeks later, I was sitting with that question, what if? And so I had coffee with a friend, and she's a veteran artist in my community and someone that I deeply respect. And we were just catching up, talking about life and our practices and the things that we're working on. And she's gonna know who she is when she hears this video. But it was one of those just easy, chill, kind of meandering conversations where you're not like performing or you're not trying to impress somebody. You're just being real. You're just being yourself. And at some point, I mentioned that I had been thinking about working bigger, but I was waiting to get this age easel. And she paused and she said, I have one. Like, I have two actually. One's just standing in the corner of my studio. Do you want it? I gotta tell you, I didn't know what to say. It's really hard to make me speechless. I was so speechless. I didn't go in there asking for anything. I was just having a conversation and checking in with an artist friend. And I mean, here she was offering me exactly what I was waiting for. Not because I earned it or saved enough money or sacrificed this and that or waited long enough in eternity, but because she saw me and she saw where I was trying to go. And there's me, of course, with the H easel now. But it's me trying to figure out like how to move this thing and put it at the angles I need and play around with it. But anyway, she saw where I was trying to go and she had something to offer me that could help me get there. And I gotta tell you, I was, again, quiet. I literally went back to my studio later after saying yes and accepting it, and I was like crying. But anyway, um, I I can't believe it. I can't believe she was so generous, and I can't believe that it was just provided for me just like that. I didn't have to go through like struggle to get there or to get it. And so I in an instant had the opportunity to play and to play in a way that felt like that's where my body wanted me to go and that's where my movements as an artist wanted to take me, and I wanted to play with longer brushes and have distance, and I was curious about like how would the mechanics of it all work if I had more space, and how would the mechanics of the brushes work if I could stand back, and how could the mechanics of the artwork if I could sit on a little stool or an artist stool, which is a whole nother thing because I'd be spinning on that thing. It's so much fun to sit on it and paint. But anyway, um like I guess what I'm sharing for you is just what happened to me. And it was the generosity of her and just like the generosity of everything in the universe and God. And so it was for me, I learned like when I trust my instincts and just move towards the thing that calls me, I couldn't get away from this call of like, I really need to paint bigger. I want to paint bigger. I want to move and work on bigger canvases. And even before I was ready and physically had it, um, like the world met me where my desire was. And so within weeks, I painted some of the biggest, boldest works that I've ever made. I don't even know if it was that good, really, but I didn't even care. I knew what was true for me was that I needed to be making what I needed to be making in that moment. For me, it's like a feeling when I know that I need to write and I have something within me that I need to get on the page and I need to get words out. It's similar for me with this. And so here I am, like, whatever, months later, applying to this local exhibition. And the call was for work, the call for art was for work that embraces Black culture. And I hesitated because my work is abstract. It's not necessarily figurative or literal or even sometimes conventional. But I trusted the process and I wanted to challenge myself. And I wanted to see where this would land and how this experience will go. And so, regardless, I said, you know what? It can't hurt anything by applying. And so I tried. And I trusted that my experience and my perspective and the choices I've been making and sitting with for longer and longer and longer would show up in the work, even if the outcome was no. And so I applied, and my work was accepted. Four pieces, several of which were painted on that H easel. All of them the result of me stepping out on faith and saying, well, what if? And not in a negative way, but what if in a positive way? And so, what if I work bigger before I can afford the tools? What if I apply to this exhibition, even though I'm not sure where I fit in? What if I trust the path that I'm being pulled towards, even if I can't see the end of it yet? So, anyway, listen, here's what I'm sharing, which is all what this channel is all about, and me chronicling my art life. Is my diary. And so, you know, I am learning that if I wait for permission, that doesn't always work well for me. I don't need to wait for permission. I need to act. And sometimes, like, I feel like, I don't know if this is the same for you, but like, for me, I will like wait for permission from, signs. I wait for permission from others or the right time. But sometimes what I realize that's all about is fear driving me to be practical and pragmatic, which are traits that I have in spades. However, it doesn't always work when you're doing something that comes from a different place and that is instinctual and that is based on creativity like art. And so in my day job, I trust my gut and I take a risk. And it's also a very calculated risk because I have training, right? And so it's very specific and set up to be designed in a certain way. And so I do that in my day job. But when I follow my instincts in other things, it usually works out. And I don't know why I didn't realize it might be the same for art for me. And so I think sometimes we tell ourselves that we're being responsible by waiting or waiting for the money or the time or the training, the validation or getting into a program or this, that, and the thirds. But sometimes we just need to step out there and just like do it. And sometimes I realize that waiting is a way to protect myself from being disappointed. And in doing that, I realize it also protects me from possibility. Like, what if it goes well? What if it works out? What if you make a connection? What if you get great feedback? Anyway, the easel itself, it wasn't just a piece of equipment for me. It was a reminder that when I move towards whatever is calling me and whatever I want, even before I'm technically ready, there's support that will show up. And sometimes it's support in the sense of a friend with an extra easel, and sometimes it's an exhibition acceptance, and sometimes it's the courage to try something new and see what happens. So I guess the work that I'm showing, in this exhibition that's upcoming exists because I stopped waiting for the perfect moment. I asked myself, well, what if in a positive way? And I could visualize myself working on larger canvases and I could feel the movements through my body. And it's so different. And it just, it wasn't a sense of like, well, maybe I'll get an easel. It was, well, it's gonna happen. And when you get this easel, you're gonna go to town, you're gonna have a good time, you're gonna stand there and you're gonna sit and you're gonna look and you're gonna have extra perspective because you're gonna be able to look at things from a different angle. And it really is true. Like all of that has come true for me. So anyway, I guess I'm sharing that I'm really happy. I'm really excited. I get to branch out and share my work in bigger communities, larger spaces, and take the chance. So, anyway, I would say because I asked myself, what if? And because I also visualized, and I was just sharing, like, with no intention. And because a generous, generous, generous artist friend saw me and offered me exactly what I needed when I needed it, I was able to take that energy that I had just sitting around in me and put it on the canvas. And so, if you're holding back on something, whether it's your art practice or a career move or whatever you're thinking you want to go to the next level for yourself, maybe think about, are you waiting for permission from somewhere to do just the thing? And what would happen if you started just moving in that direction anyway, with just like blind faith about it's gonna happen? So you might not get an H easel. It might not be that for you. It might be something else. Um, but you might get something better, which is the experience of trusting yourself and feeling like, yeah, I made a move and here's what happened. So anyway, I'm really excited. My art will be on display at the Fisher's Arts Council Gallery from February 2nd through February 27th, with an opening on February 13th. If you are local, I would love to see you there. But more than that, I'd love to know, what are you saying what if to in your life right now? Anyway, thanks for being here. Keep making, keep doing the things, and keep having a good time. I am going to do all that. And as I put the finishing touches together on getting all my materials ready to get it over to the folks at the Arts Council, I am extremely proud and I'm just blown away and I'm having a good time. And as long as it keeps being fun for me, I'm gonna keep doing the thing because me and this art thing, we go together real bad. This is just part of my life now, and it's a return to myself, one that I'm incredibly grateful for. All right, y'all. Bye.